Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more.
Are you keen to discover who you really are? A mate asked me this about 8 years ago, and at the time I was like, I know who I am. Like, I really understand who I am. But on the inside, I was unfulfilled, unfocused, and just angry. And every time I thought to myself, I really need to start looking inwards, it was scary. It was really daunting. But what I realized over time is where my mind was going to go was going to highlight the stuff that I needed to work on. It was going to help me understand and, I guess, rediscover who I was as an individual. And today's guest, Frankie Lee, breaks this process down so well and shares so much from his own story around who we are. We had an incredible chat, just chewing the fat, really, talking about discovering who you are, the problem with wealth accumulation, why you should question everything you believe, and so much more on this conversation. We went deep, and it was a great time for me. I even hung around with Frankie for a few hours after and went through some cool stuff. And, one of the really noticeable things from our connection, I felt like we'd been mates for a very long time, but we went and grabbed a burger after. And as soon as we sat down, he grabbed my phone and put it in the middle of the table and was like, no phones. And he's one of the first people who has ever done that. And I feel like that's why we connected so well, because I wasn't looking for my phone and we could just really get in the flow of conversation. So I know for those of you who are multitasking while you're listening to this episode, that's fine. But if you can afford the time to sit down and just listen to the conversation with Frankie and myself, I know you will take away some incredible perspectives. And even just after this episode is done, grab a notepad and just write down what you thought about when you were listening to this episode, maybe some challenging thoughts or comments from the episode, and how you're thinking differently. Because what happens when you consume new information, or different people's opinions or perspectives, often we don't take time to digest it and we're just throwing it in the information bank. And obviously when that becomes full, we feel overwhelmed. So if you can take time to write it down, formulate your own opinions and perspectives, it's hugely helpful in your progress to becoming a better leader and a better leader for your life. So definitely highly recommend doing that. If you'd like to get involved with the Man That Can Project, our main program, the Strong Men of Value Academy, which helps men take ownership for their lives, build strong minds and strong bodies, and just gives you the most incredible network of like-minded men who are really taking their lives to that next level. Our intake for that is in April. Now, if you can't wait until then and you really want to start making some changes, I would recommend checking out the Breakthrough Online experience, which until the Academy has more spaces open, it's going to really help you build some foundational skills like how you can goal set, how you can chunk times. It's going to help you identify limiting beliefs and maybe some things in your life that you can improve upon in the meantime to getting into the Academy. So you can head over to themanthatcanproject.com to check out all of that information and find out what's going to help you best become the man that you want to be. The Man That Can Project podcast, a podcast empowering career-driven men to live more fulfilling lives. We are here to challenge your beliefs, redefine success, and talk about the important stuff in a relatable way. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. My name's Lachlan Stuart. Let's get into it.
Let's rock and roll.
Sick sneakers, bro. I shouldn't have worn the Birks.
Nah, mate, because Aussie lads have got the with the Birks, man. Like, Aussie lads smash you with the Birks, man.
Mate, well, I was always a flip-flop kind of guy, like with Havianas. And then my missus is eventually like, you got to stop wearing them because I kept blowing pluggers all the time.
Yeah.
And then I upgraded to these, and they're actually as comfy as everyone says. Like,
So did you know that Australian women have a massive ick with men that wear like pluggers and stuff? Like the real elegant, like real, like the kind of women you'll see at like the Coogee Pav or like Burley Pav or the but the top elegant echelon of the women, they have an ick with men who wear pluggers. They would not go near you if you wore pluggers.
Yeah, well, I'm a married man now. I don't even have my ring on, but
yeah,
I don't want that, so I'll just go back to my pluggers.
I love it how the fact that as soon as you drove into Southport, you took your ring off. And then he's like, you filthy animal. You fucking filthy animal.
Amy, if you're listening to this, you know what, the ring's in the box at home.
Are we in the podcast now?
Yeah, we'll get started. So, guys, today's guest, Frankie Lee, mate, thanks so much for coming on.
No worries,
Even though you're hosting me in your apartment with the lights, and I know we may get a doorbell ringing soon with your new sign, which we'll probably
we're going to check out. We're getting a new sign here that for the Frankie Lee podcast. We're getting it put here somewhere, so I'm centre it up a bit. But I've had a bit of drama with that, trying to get that in. But anyway, it's on the way. If it comes through the podcast, we apologise early.
But that's life. Life happens, mate. But I've been following you for a while, and then started really tuning into your podcast probably 3-4 months ago, and your energy is fucking infectious. As I was saying to you before, like you got a really good energy, and you're just so genuine and authentic, which I love, because there's plenty of podcasts that feel really scripted and staged, and we're not scripting this. Like you'll find out very soon for everyone.
Yeah, I don't do question and answer podcasts because question and answer podcasts, in essence, lack creativity and lack authenticity. Yeah. So like if you say, like when you're interviewing a guest or when I'm interviewing a guest, if we like plan it out, then we are trying to force where the conversation should go, rather than the true art of a conversationalist is to see and feel and allow the conversation to evolve, right? Yeah. What we're doing now, there is no feeling and no energy in a podcast. It's like, okay, where did you grow up? Okay, what do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like there's not that lacks substance, and
there's no curiosity.
Yeah, 100%.
But when I reached out to you, I was like, mate, would you be open to coming on the podcast? I'll send you the Riverside link we're doing, and you're like, fuck that, man. I don't do them online, like, or very rarely, because you don't get this energy.
Bro,
and I was
I can't. I'm like, but look, I'm happy to, like, when you said to me, do you want to come on the podcast? I said, yeah, sweet, I'll come on the podcast, but like, I'll either drive to you or you come here, whatever, but like, I'm not going to sit on a fucking Zoom and do a podcast. Like, I get reached out to for a few podcasts now, more and more, and yeah, I'll do them in America and all that, because that's on Zoom if I'm not there. If it's in Miami, obviously I'll do it on Zoom, and I'll just turn up the best version of myself that I can.
Yep.
But when you're talking about, like, you live in Brisbane, I live in the Gold Coast, to do it on Zoom wouldn't be doing either of us any fucking favors, like in terms of like energy wise, because you need to be in the trenches. And the whole point I started podcasting was to do this, to have a conversation with people I like, people I resonate with, so I can obviously have the conversation and add value to anyone that listens to it, because we are in the conversation.
Yeah. I loved you for pulling me up on that, because I find myself from time to time, I'm like, all right, I got a meeting here, fit this in. And I was just saying to you, like, it was in September when I really decided to put more energy and focus into the podcast, because previously it was just a tool and me learning to speak better, and more and more people wanted to come on the show, and then I was like, I really enjoy it. I fucking love talking to people. But then you're right, when you're on Zoom or on whatever platform, the energy is still missing, right? It's fucking
you are delving into a space that lacks connection.
Yeah.
You cannot get connection through a phone, right? Connection comes from being in the presence of other human beings, and by being present in the space that you're in at the time.
Yep.
When I'm with you, I'm fully present in the conversation with you. When I'm with someone else, I'm fully present with them. And that is the art of what we're talking about. Like, it's the connection aspect. The connection aspect is what everyone tries to outsource by going on Zoom, by going on FaceTime, by doing.
Yeah.
I live here in Australia right now. There is no part of me that gets the adequate connection with my sister's children on FaceTime that I can get if I took them down the park in the UK.
Yeah.
And that's you cannot fucking replace that. And people are actively trying to outsource that shit. You shouldn't outsource that shit at all.
I feel, once again, it's coming back from that mindset of I'm so busy and we can still get the job done. But then when you actually take time to think about it, the job's getting done, but it's not being done well. And the quality of your results in life, or the meaning and depth of your relationship, comes down to how much effort you're prepared to put into that. And so even when you said that, I was like, fuck, I'm a lazy prick. Like, literally, it's an hour drive. I listened to a podcast, made a few phone calls, and it's already heaps better, mate.
But equally, I would have driven up there to do it. Equally, I said to you, I'll drive up there and do it. I just don't want to sit on a Zoom call because it's just not how I communicate. It's just not the best. If you got to be self-aware enough to know that on a Zoom, you're not going to communicate as well as in person. Yep. And I like when it comes to podcasting, I like people to feel what we're saying as much as I like them to listen to it. So I want them to feel the fact that we fucking love this, that it lights us up, but we not only are we here and we're present and it fucking lights us up, but we want you to gain value from the insights that you can potentially pull out of this conversation. Right? That I can't get that on Zoom.
Yeah, spot on. Were you nervous before this podcast?
No.
I was nervous. I got to admit, I'm fucking rolling through Surfers Paradise with a white backpack and what is that, a lantern? Because I've just you come down the elevator and you're like, the fuck's this, mate? And I was like, trust me, when you see it set up,
your opinion, but but mate, I don't. Nerves in terms of the fact of like I don't really get nervous because I'm like I did some breath work before we did this, right? So I breathed for like 21 minutes and I was just setting the intention of like, okay, like today is going to be a day that I'm going to bring as much value to you and your audience as I can today. Like I want to turn up the best version of myself for this moment. This is what I breathed into that before you came, like, and that I don't really do like the nerves or the feeling of like this, that, and the other. I'm just trying to feel more into the fact of like I'm just coming here to do the best that I can do with what I got on the day that I'm here. Do you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Take away all that pressure off yourself, because we put pressure on ourselves in life for no fucking reason. For no reason. I mean, where does people go? Oh, pressure forms diamonds. Pressure does this. Pressure does that. You're just pulling quotes off the internet, mate. Like this, essentially, you're just pulling fucking quotes on the internet. Yeah. Is that actually truly what you believe? Probably fucking not. You've probably read it somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's that freedom of thought that will free you from these status quo quotes that just have no value. Like we can all feel nerves at points in time. However, nerves and nervousness is just excitement.
Yeah.
You're just packaging it in a different light to what it actually is. So if you're nervous, you're obviously excited about the content you're going to create, and you can flip the perspective in your mind by changing the way that you look at the word.
Yep. You're right there with the excitement. Like, it's fucking good to be doing this, and having listened to a lot of your podcasts and understanding and getting little snippets of your story. Like, you moved here 5 years ago from the UK. Whereabouts in the UK?
So I was born in Peterborough in the UK. I moved here like 7.5, 8 years ago. Yeah,
right.
And to be honest with the audience, your audience, I was running. I realized that a long time ago. I was, and this is what I really want to explain this to a lot of you guys that are listening. It's like, there has been so many times in my personal journey, in my personal life, where I have ran away from stuff, right? So, and I'd always, and at this moment in time, I've been looking at going to Dubai or looking at going back to England, and I just realised in my breathwork this morning that again I'm in a point in my life where I'm considering running again. However, now I can understand me and understand how I move and how I roll because of the breathwork, because of the way I'm opening up my mindset to these things. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to run away from this again. I'm going to sit with it. Going back to the journey stuff, I ran away because I broke up with an Italian girl, beautiful girl. I ran away from England because I felt like, at the time, I felt like my mum didn't love me, like she didn't have as much love for me as my sister. This is something that was an inherent pattern of me when I was a child. I was running away from lots of shit. Lots and lots of shit that I'd built up in my mind that most men, most women go through. No one talks about it enough. And I was running away. At this moment in time, it's like I was questioning this morning when I was in the gym. I was in the gym. Imagine this, right? I'm in the gym. And I'm just explaining this to give people context to how mindset works, right? I was in the gym this morning. There's like 30 beautiful women doing a booty class over here. I'm doing chest over here. Logic would say that a man would be very happy to be in that situation. Yet I was in the gym this morning and I felt empty, right? And this is only this morning, before this podcast, right? So I come back home and do the breath work. And and obviously on the way to here, I'm thinking, fuck, I need to go to Dubai. I need to go to England. I need to do this. I need to do that. I realized in that moment, and why I'm relating it back to your original question is, I'm just, if I ran now, if I went off without sitting with what I'm feeling, I would be doing exactly what I did 8 years ago. I'd be running away from myself again. So the insight I want to give your audience before we go into the journey stuff is like, if you ever feel in your life that you need to run, or you need to change, or need to move or do something, this, that, and the other, rather than just getting in that fight or flight mode and just running, which is what I did, which is what brought me to here, rather than doing that, just take that moment to sit with yourself and feel into that, and feel, if you're feeling hurt, feel the hurt. If you're feeling lack of love, feel the lack of love. You know, process the emotions within yourself, and that'll allow you to accentuate through it, which is what I'm going through right now.
Do you find it uncomfortable?
100%. Yeah. 100%, bro. Of course, because you imagine, you come from Peterborough in the UK, you come to Australia, you come to find happiness, but you think happiness at the time is something you get from the external. Right? Yeah. Happiness never comes from external shit. Cars, women, copious amounts of sex, drugs, drink, all that shit does not bring you any form of happiness. It just delays the trajectory of a man or woman going on some form of spirituality practice, some kind of connection journey. It delays you going on that. So all I essentially did was I went through life in England where I was involved in the boxing community. I was involved in things. And the reason I was involved in the boxing community at the time was because that was all essentially me trying to prove something to someone, to gain love, to gain acceptance, to gain this, to gain that. It was just one big dick swinging competition, basically is what it was. Like, essentially, I was going through this massive, like, dick swinging competition, trying to get through life. And I was like, this isn't working. So I'll fly as far away as I can go. I'll come to Australia. Then I started the pattern again, right? And it's only when I started to look inward, rather than I was always looking for external happiness. Yep. When I started to look inward, I was like, fuck, now I get it. Yep. Now I'm starting to think, shit. So this is how people come back to themselves.
And it's fucking cool to hear you talk about that. And that's why I think it's awesome that you do, especially with your platform, but even into our platform, because I did the same thing. I ran away to France and I thought, I'd broken up with my missus and I had, been lying, cheating, manipulating and stuff. I was like, if I go overseas, I can have a fresh start and I'll decide who I want to be. But I took all that, the insecurities and the shit with me. And within 3 months, the same patterns had started again. I was like,
there's no such thing as fresh starts, because fresh starts assume that you can go from one location in your life to a different location and your time starts again. But that's impossible, because you've learned so much, and you could learn so much from looking inward within the situations that you've been in.
Yeah, exactly.
Like fresh starts don't exist. All these words like fresh starts, pressure makes diamonds, all these connotations that we're taught and instilled, and the quotes on Instagram and all this bollocks. It's just bollocks. It's absolute bollocks, because it's not actually it's woo. That's more woo-woo than being spiritual, because that shit is completely bollocks, right? At least by looking inward, you get a true version of yourself. You get to learn about who do you need to learn about when you're trying to transcend through yourself. You need to learn about yourself. You need to sit with yourself. You need to be comfortable in your silence. It will be so easy for me right now to fuck off out of here. I've got the cash. I've got the fortitude. My business is online. I could just fuck off. I could fuck off and go and disrupt my mind. Just literally disrupt my mind and distract myself with women. Go to Dubai, be around fancy shit, all this stuff. I could go and distract myself with all shiny objects. However, I know from my personal experience that I've tried that. The Gold Coast was the Dubai of the time for me. Right? It was that. So now I'm not going to go and repeat that pattern. I'm going to sit with the pain. I'm going to sit with and see what learnings are on the other side of it. And I was never willing to be man enough or open enough and emotionally available enough to be able to sit with these lessons that are on my plate right now that I can learn from. I can learn from these, but I was never willing to sit with them because I was always trying to run away from them. And we were all trying to outpace life, and you'll never outpace life.
Do you feel it would have been easy as well to, because with the podcast and stuff, and I know it's a huge priority for you, it's like easy to almost fall into some belief that, I'll go to Dubai or I'll go to the UK and I'll take the podcast there as well as like a way to sort of...
I try and justify
justify leaving anyway. It's like, I'm not running, I'm just going to do the podcast. And then...
I was trying to justify it with like, I haven't seen my family in 2.5 years. I tried to justify to myself that if I go and live in Dubai, I've got all these big guests I can get on, and I've got a lot of connections over there. And I tried to justify it with this, but is that the core reason that's calling you to Dubai right now? No, bro. The reason you're called to Dubai is because you're experiencing pain, right? And your inherent thing for a human being to go to is when you're feeling pain within yourself, right? When you're in this deep learning state, learning more about yourself than you could ever wish to learn, you want to fucking run, right? And I'm in that stage right now, and I'm not going to fucking run. I'm going to sit with this, and I'm going to feel into it, and I'm going to come on, and I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to try and help people understand that everyone in life is going through the same thing. It doesn't matter what position you feel that you're at in life, whether you've smashed it, this, that, and the other. But everyone's going through it, and everyone, when you start to feel like a little lost or a little unloved or a little this or a little that, sit with it, man. Sit with it. Like, breathe into it. Sit in silence. Meditate into it. Like, feel into it. I'm not being spiritual with you. I'm just being real with you. If you, the longer you spend in those moments, just listening to what comes up in your mind without the judgment from your outside perspective of how it fucking should be. The longer you spend listening without judgment, that's how you gain the clarity to move through and transcend the issues that you have. And that does what I want all people to do. It allows you to break patterns and flip perspectives in your life, right? Because you've just flipped the whole narrative, because your narrative was pain, 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 run. But now your narrative is pain, sit with it, understand it, understand that breakup. Understand that breakup, even though how painful it is to you in this moment, served you in another way here. Right. And that served thing that you've got there is so fucking powerful, and there's so much beauty on the other side of that, but none of us see it because we're all trying to fucking run. And that's what I've lived that life. I don't want to live it anymore.
That's fucking brilliant. Like, it's very true. Like, when you reach that uncomfortability, and whether it's running or it's numbing feelings and emotions and sensations with drugs or pornography or even just partying or even socializing, like people, the amount of people that go, I'm overly extroverted, which is completely fine. Like,
is that the truth though?
Is it, or you just really don't like being by yourself? There was a guy posted in our group. He's like, when I'm just running, I just all this trauma and pain comes up. Like, what do you guys do to distract yourself?
You don't need to distract yourself.
This is what you need to sit in that. You need to start understanding it, because otherwise all you're doing is suppressing it, and it's going to keep festering and bubbling, and it's going to come back stronger. So you need to sit down and, I journal a heap every morning, but I just ask myself questions and try to process things from, I'm 30. What are you, 30?
34 in June.
34.
So 33 now.
We're 60 years combined worth of life experience between us that a lot of us often overlook, that we could utilize to, which is probably why we both podcast as well, because we believe in the experiences that we've had and can teach other people.
It's just about, I want to talk into the vulnerabilities that I'm showing in life, because I believe there's a lot of power there, and I believe there's a lot of wisdom, and I can help people transcend themselves by doing that.
Yeah.
Someone has to be willing to step up and talk into this space, and I kind of feel that I was put on the planet to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to, some women might look at me and think, fucking hell, this geezer's off his fucking tits. Like, what? Do you know what I mean? But it does that. For every fucking 5 of them, there's one that'll understand that the reason why I speak into this, and the reason why I'm so honest with myself, and I'm so honest about what I'm feeling. It's like I could quite easily come on this podcast and say, hey mate, I feel great today.
Life's awesome, yeah.
Life's awesome. Life's good. I've had a fantastic morning. The truth is, I've been through one of my biggest battles before you even got here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And why not speak into that? It's the truth right now. I have to speak into the truth right now. And the closer that you can get in to speaking into your truth right now, right this second, that is where the power is. That is where the juice is. And the way that I get people to do this, when people say, well, how do I do that, Frankie? Simple. Get a journal, right? Write down on one page, on one side of one page, who you really, truly and deeply want to be, right? Be honest. Be honest, because nobody sees this. So be fucking really honest. Who do you really, truly, authentically want to be? And on the other page, write down with fucking honesty, and be fucking honest about this, who the fuck you are right now, and how you turn up to the world, and all this, what value are you bringing, how you turn up, how you're being. Is that congruent then with where you want to go to and who you want to become?
It's interesting, even with that, like the be versus, like if you said to someone who they'll automatically go, I'm a lawyer, or, all these roles that we play, but we often overlook traits that we want to have, right? Like, it might be, I own a Lambo, I own 10 penthouses, or fucking whatever it is, which is fine. But if you ask people to do that, so many people get stuck. They're just like, I don't know who I am. Like,
but here's the thing, right? When that person says, hey, I don't know who I am, fantastic. You've just identified what you need to learn next. Fantastic. Don't judge yourself for not knowing who you are. That's great. We've just allowed you in this space that we're creating right now to allow yourself to ask yourself that question. You've figured out that you don't truly know who you are. Yep. Fantastic. Now go on the journey of discovering who the fuck you are. That is the power. That is your power. Because the sooner you can find out who the fuck you are, the sooner you can find out your 1% skill in life. The skill that sets you apart from every other human being. The skill that comes so easy and so fluid and so abundant to you, right? So abundant to you. That skill that is your gift to share with the world. The sooner you can find that, and then you can lean into that, and then you can light up the world from your true self, right? Which is what I feel podcasting is to me. I feel that I was put on this planet to communicate with a vast amount of people, to help them transcend and find themselves, and then go and be the best version of themselves for themselves. That's it. That's what I'm here to do, and I'm just trying to do that.
That's fucking brilliant. If you don't give yourself that time, like, you're never going to get to the next part. Like, people watch you. Like, I get inspired by your content because how genuine, authentic, and certain you are around how you speak and conduct yourself. And there's plenty of other people in my life that I look at that as well. But I also have some mates and some clients that are fucking crushing it in what they're doing, right? And to everyone, it's like, I would love their life. But when you actually get to understand what's going on, they're having conversations with me about, this is serving a purpose, but I don't know who I am, and I don't know what's next. And as you said, you've just identified what you need to work on.
Yeah.
But with that...
Even this morning. Yeah. This morning.
If you don't do what you've done, and love breath work as well, but even just taking time to own up to the bullshit that you'll tell yourself, like, oh, I need to go to the UK for this, that, or the other. It's like people say, I got a client who's worth a fortune, and he's at a point where he's like, oh, I just want to try something new. I'm like, mate, fucking do it. You've got all the opportunity in the world.
Right, yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but I just need to make sure I'm set up. I'm like, bro, you're set up for a couple of lifetimes. So there's these limiting beliefs and fear of criticism, judgment, all this stuff that's there. And once again, you're not going to get to the other side of exploring, all the beautiful things that you have to give or what really excites you if you don't first then go back and deal with that shit.
Yeah.
And you said really well before, it's like, what's that next step for you? And you can't just fucking put a tin roof on a block of land and call it a house. It's like you got to put the footings in and be honest with. There's process with everything.
Well, your client, for example, he needs to just sit with himself and understand, what do you feel you're here for, mate? Like, what are you here for? What's your goals? All this stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to get into that and really figure that out for yourself. Because if you don't
just pause once. Oh, keep going. Sorry.
If you don't get if you don't get that feeling in your life where you're like, you sit with yourself in the silence and you really allow your client allows himself to go, okay, cool. I've made all this shit ton of cash. I've got the Lambos. I've got all this stuff. So I've really achieved all the external, but now I need to look inside myself and think to myself, okay, cool. What else am I here to do? And I guarantee you, when your client looks at that, mate, he's probably going to be thinking to himself, I'm here for a lot more purpose and a lot more depth than that. Do you know what I mean?
But it's also that stereotype around like redefining success and the pursuit of success is, we've been given this roadmap of, as you sort of had touched on even earlier, like materialistic possessions, cars, all this very nice stuff. But so many people feel detached from that. Like, we get it, you might buy a new car and 2 weeks later it's like you're throwing water bottles on the floor and you couldn't give 2 fucks about it. Yeah. And we never really sit down and take the time to identify what success looks like for us and what we really want to do. Guys, we just had a technical difficulty here. Boom. Cool.
We're back. I think there's a little technical difficulty there with the filming, but we're talking about your client, and obviously with some of the stuff that he's going through as a very wealthy man. It's like, you can accumulate as much wealth, as much abundance in your life in terms of the materialistic. You can accumulate that, yep. Right? The problem with that is that when you're ill, right? Let's just put it into context. When you're ill, when you got COVID and you can't even get out of bed, right? Because you got this COVID, right?
Yeah.
What do you want most in your life? You want your health back.
Yeah.
You want the ability to get out of bed. You want the ability to feed yourself. You want all this ability. That is what you truly want. You only want to be healthy. When you're lying on your deathbed, can you imagine, and you got 13 Lamborghinis, 4 houses, you've had 6 different wives, you've never had a connection with them all. No, I'm serious, bro. You've never had a connection with them all. You've gone through, you've banged as many birds as you wanted through life, but you've had no connection, right? You go through, you get to the end of your life, you're laying on your deathbed, or you're 50 and you've got cancer and you're laying there and they said that there's nothing. You'll sit there and you're contemplating everything through life. Do you think in that moment you're going to feel like you did life right? No, because you never took the time to give kudos and give any form of grace to the things that actually truly matter. The connection that you have with people, the fact that you have the ability to go to the gym, the gratitude for the fact that you get to take your daughter to her school play, the fact that you get to kick a football around at the park with your son, right? Yeah. No amount of, you're not going to think about the fucking triple time you got paid for doing overtime on those 3 hours that you worked when you missed your school's fucking sports day, your son's sports day. You're not going to think about that. You're going to think about all those cherish moments you had with the people that matter in your life. And it doesn't matter how much you accumulate on the physical plane in terms of stuff. When you come back to self, knowing who the fuck you are and how you want to turn up for your friends, your family, and for yourself, that is the true essence of being. And people need to get to the true essence of being, because that is where the magic, I believe, happens. And that is on the other side of transcending through times when you want to fucking run.
Where did it all begin? Like, how long ago did you start working on this stuff?
I think all through my life, I've kind of known that I was here to talk, to speak into things and all that stuff. I think I've known that my whole life. I think I've shut it off through doing different things. Basically, I think what I shut up, I reckon it's been with me all my life. I've only truly accessed it in the last probably like 2 years.
Yeah, right.
3 years to really speak into it, to feel into it. I've only really accessed it then. However, I feel my whole life was me doing things to look a certain way,
yep.
to feel a certain way, boxing was all about proving a point in terms of like being around the boxing game, being a professional boxing trainer at the time was all about proving a point. But when I got to the pinnacle, when I was at world title level as a boxing trainer, I stood there in the centre of the ring. You got Jeff Horn, Gary Cochran. Bearing in mind, I was the youngest ever British professional boxing trainer to ever get licensed at the time out of 1,000, right? So I'd gone through life. I realised that boxing wasn't for me in terms of being a boxer and all that stuff. That wasn't for me. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't the top 0.01%, so I would have achieved what I wanted to achieve. So I moved into the training side. I go through the boxing training side. It was all about like, okay, people think I'm going to fail, so I'm going to prove them wrong. I'll get my seconds license. People think I'm going to fail, I'll get my pro trainer's license. People think I'm going to fail, I'm going to represent a world title level. There's a lot that I've missed out in the middle of that, but just understand that I worked fucking like 5, 6, 7 years to get to work at pro title level. Now picture the fucking scene. I had built myself up as this was the pinnacle. This was what I'd always deeply craved. This was going to give me that feeling of success, that feeling of completion, that feeling of like, fuck yeah, Frankie boy, you are the biggest dick swinger at the party right now, right? That's the feeling I was looking for, because it was all self-serving shit, right? All surface level bullshit. I walked out with Gary Cochran, right? Jeff Horn's walking to the ring. It's Brisbane. There's 11,000 people in the crowd. Yeah, 11,000 people. We're on 4 different TV channels, 2 in America, 1 in UK, 1 in Australia. It's a fucking main event. Jeff Horn's just beat Manny Pacquiao for the world title. He's defending his WBO world title against Gary Cochran, right? I'm in the fucking centre ring. You've got Frank Reeves there, which is the main trainer, and I was seconding him. Stood there in the middle of the ring, looking out. Michael Buffer's announcing the trainers' names, the fighters' names. Let's get ready to rumble. Looking out into the fucking crowd. It was like there was no sound, right? It's like I completely went silent inside myself. And I realised in that moment, I'd spent my whole life pursuing things externally, and my ladder had been leant against the wrong fucking wall. So I'd climbed the ladder of what I perceived to be success, and my ladder was leant against the wrong fucking wall. So I'd got to the top of the ladder, and I was like, wow. All that work, all that chase, all that force, all that fucking feeling, all that, gotta get this done, gotta get there, and when I got there, emptiness. Biggest lesson of my life in that moment, because I realised then and there that you can chase as much as you fucking want and try and force as much shit uphill as you want to chase that feeling for yourself. But if you get to that pinnacle, your classed pinnacle, without doing the work of looking inward and discovering who you truly are, it'll be the emptiest shit that you've ever experienced. And I bet you if I sat down with your client who's worth a fucking mozza and described that to him, his face would tell you that he has got to the exact same pinnacle within business, all the cars, the women, all that crap. Yeah, he's got to the same fucking place, different scenario, and he's empty, right? Because he doesn't know who the fuck he is. That's why I cannot stress enough. If you're driving in the car right now, if you're in the gym on the fucking treadmill, if you're in your office, wherever you're listening to this, do the exercise I said. Write down who the fuck you are. Truly, and write down who the fuck you want to turn up to the world as, truly. And you'll see the incongruences within yourself. Yeah? And it's about not judging yourself for the incongruences, just accept the fact that they're there. And now you know, and now you acknowledge it. Now you can move through it. Now you can level up. Now you can go through this whole thing again. You've got the opportunity to change. But whilst we're all trying to pursue the Balenciagas, the Lambos, the beautiful wives, the beautiful boyfriends, the model life, the Instagram life, the fucking likes, the dopamine hits, the social media, all that shit, while we're trying to it's just dulling what we actually need to deal with. We all need to deal with ourselves. And that's it. That's all you're here to do. You're just here to learn as much as you can about yourself and your gifts as possible, and then share that gift with the world in the best way possible. And then everything that needs to align with you. You'll get paid the money you need to get paid for doing what you do. You'll get the fulfillment that you've always wanted. You'll have the deep connection with yourself and the deep connection with others because you've done the fucking work. And if you do all that and you feel through all that and you understand exactly what I'm trying to put into your fucking ears right now, it'll change your fucking life. But you have to be willing to sit through a little bit of pain on the way to get into this place. I'm sitting through it myself now. And that's it. And that is the only game in town. There's no other game. I don't care what anyone else tells you. That is the only game in town. It's all inward. Nothing external.
When you were sitting, or when you had that realization at the boxing match, like, as you were saying, like for anyone sitting in the cubicle or whatever the situation is in your own life, and you've had those moments where you feel like, for me, I just remember having that pit in the bottom of my stomach where I was like, I'm here for fucking more. I don't know what it is just yet, but like what I'm doing isn't cutting it. This is just me just doing what everyone else thinks I should be doing. I was so unhappy. What was that? What happened next for you after the boxing match? Like, did you stay in boxing for...
No.
You straight away just pulled the pin? Was it fucking hard to do? Or?
Yeah, because I suffered ego death.
Yeah.
I suffered massive ego death because I'd attached my whole being to being a boxing trainer, to being a world title boxing trainer. Like, if you look, right, Instagram bios are a great one. Instagram bios tell you everything about what people are attached to.
Yep.
Right? Have you ever seen one of them people that on their Instagram bio where they've got business owner, this, that, motivational speaker, book author, all this, blah, 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 yeah? All that shit. That is someone who doesn't know themselves.
Yep.
Because they're trying to be everything to everybody.
Yep.
Their Instagram bio tells you that they've never looked inward.
Yep.
Right? And these people are some of the people that are coaches to people telling you how to find yourself.
Yeah.
Get that. Let that land. Right? That is the truth. It's like, yeah. So, what was your exact question again? Like, because I've gone off track.
Was it hard for you to walk away from it?
Yeah. So that was it, right? Yeah. So the ego death.
Yeah.
The ego death, right, is what I suffered. It was like taking away a part of me. I had built this whole substance around who the fuck Frankie Lee was, around this boxing image, around this trainer image, around this world title trainer, WBO world title trainer, all of that fucking shit in the profile. Take that away, who the fuck are you, mate? That's very confronting.
Yep.
But without that confrontation, without taking that away, without that ego death, there could be no accentuation to the point that I'm at now. without this death that I'm going to die in the next 3, 4, 5 weeks going through these things that I'm dealing with at this moment, without that death, there's no growth past that either.
Yep.
But when you sit with it and you accentuate through it, like I was saying, then on the other side, I can now provide more substance to myself and more value to the world because I've lived it and I've seen it and I've sat with it. Yeah, and it was very much an ego death, bro. It's so difficult because I attached everything to it.
Yep,
my whole fucking being.
It's a interesting thing to balance though, because I'm massive on not, obviously we're in the podcasting game. I'm in or in business as well. You're in business, but to grab people's attention, there are like headlines and things that like you need to grab people's attention because there's so much happening. So even with my coach on, you're talking about Instagram bios. I can't remember what mine was like a couple of weeks ago, but he's like, you need to change it. Like, you've worked with this many people. This is how many people are in your academy. Put that on your fucking bio. I'm like, fair play, like just for credibility or for whatever it is. And so I always find it such an interesting thing because once again, I don't like spooking or any of that sort of stuff. But then most people, I always observe like people in my industry and what's working well for them, how they're getting attention and all this sort of stuff. And some of the stuff I'm like, even like TikTok, right? Or Reels, it's like there's so much shit on there that's trending that I'm like, I'd never do that. And then slowly over time, we've been like, their brands are growing faster and they're, so then I'm like, maybe I am just not open to something new.
This is an issue I'm having as well, right? But not from the sense of what you're talking into.
Yep.
So it's where that goes wrong is you're looking at other people and what they're doing and comparing yourself to them. And you're comparing yourself to them without truly knowing you're doing it. And you could be looking at their day 75 while you're on day 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And we all get trapped in this. I've unfollowed a hell of a lot of people, not because I dislike them, but because when I go onto Instagram to put out value, I don't want to be comparing myself to this person or that person. And we can all get dragged there. But in essence, like you can grow on any platform, and you can look at tactics and look at this person's growing like this person growing like that. But in essence, if you just go and now you start doing content to just grow, right? That turns your podcast into a fucking job. That turns my podcast into a job now, because now our job isn't podcasting, isn't articulating ourselves and attracting the people to us that resonate with us and our words and to help them. We're now going out looking for that audience that only likes a certain type of content. Gotcha. They're not our listeners, bro. So you don't need to worry about it.
It's interesting to think about, because I'm always like, you'll just run your own race and you'll find the right people. But then, obviously when you employ or you hire coaches, it's to improve something in your life. Right.
But as you improve the elements within yourself, then the value and the proposition that you put out to the world will elevate. And the people will be attracted to that elevation. And it's again, TikTok is a tactic. Instagram is a tactic. The work that you do on yourself is the most valuable work that you do. And by doing the work that you're doing on yourself, you can then go and transcend. Like, you can go and add more value to people's lives, can't you? It's just we all get caught up in the tactics, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the TikToks, and then we all get into the comparison game. Mate, I am notorious for comparison games. I live my fucking whole life. I've lived half my life comparing myself to others, but it's never brought me any joy. It's never brought me any joy. It's never allowed me, in the times when I was at my most comparative, to add any value to other people, which means that I lack substance within myself, because we're all here to elevate, but also serve the greater good of other people as well. That's what we're here for. That's human. That's human connection. That's value. That's how the world works.
Why do you think we've lost it?
Because it's engineered. It's completely engineered, bro. I remove content from the internet. I know all about the narrative in this world at this moment in time, right? We're not going to go into that, right? But what I'm saying to you is, everything we're seeing, they're trying to steal your attention, right, and dull your sparkle at scale. Because if your attention's stolen, if you're busy, if you're constantly busy, if you're constantly taking dopamine hits from screens and all this shit, you're not looking where you need to be looking. You're not fully awake. You're half asleep. You're just operating on autopilot. 95% of the world, and 95 out of the 100 people that listen to this podcast, bro, in all honesty, and I'm going to call you out on it, are that you're operating in autopilot to some degree, right? To some degree. And it's your job to break those autopilot sequences. You know what I mean? You cannot gain any essence or learn anything about yourself by watching the TV, by watching narratives on the TV, by doing this, that, and the other. It comes from like the peace and the tranquility. People don't give themselves any peace and wonder why they're stressed. There's no peace. You go to work, you get up in the morning, you go to your bedside, you lift up your phone, you check Instagram. That's before you've even gone to the bathroom to have a pee, right? You're in the toilet, you go toilet, you're standing up, you go gym, you're getting loads of other people's energies and opinions.
Yep.
Right? Now you get in your car, you drive home, you listen to the radio, you listen to ads, you listen to cram. Now you go to work. 9 to 5, you're at work. Yeah? Most people. You go to work. You're listening to fucking Stacey's opinion on coronavirus. You're listening, blah, blah, blah. You've got all these opinions, all these opinions. You get home. You got the kids, you got everything happening to you, and your whole life is just a fucking one big cycle where you're all you're doing is responding to what's happening in the outside world. When do you get time to sit with yourself? You can't know who you are if you don't sit with yourself. And that's why it's happening, bro. Because it's designed to, it's fully designed from a higher level to be like that. But you've got to separate yourself from that system, because that system isn't where the growth happens. And in Australia, you've got more opportunity to do that than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, it can even happen though through like self-help. Like I remember when I started trying to be better and do all that sort of, workshops and fucking personal development courses and everything like that. But I got like an ego around it, and I was like priding myself on how many books I read, how many hours of podcasts. But it's the same thing. If you're just jamming constant information, even if it's fucking good, you're still not allowing yourself that peace and tranquility that you talk about to process it and understand it in your own way. Like you're not going inward with it. So even for those, I love progress, and I'm very driven for the things that I'm doing, as are you with your podcast and various other things. But just because you've got these goals and this ambition, you still need the downtime to be able to propel to
process it. So there'll be a lot of you out there that are reading books. But ask yourself, the book that you're reading, are you going to execute on the information in the book right now? If the answer is no, stop reading the book. Read a book that you're going to execute on.
It's relevant.
Right? You need to read books that are relevant in your life for the time that you're living in, and you're going to actually execute the information. There is 0 point reading a book if you're not going to execute on the information that you pick up through the book. Right? Which is what most people do. Most people are not executing on the content that they ingest, and then this causes stress. It causes anxiety. It causes fucking feelings within themselves that do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is designed. You're designed to feel in a constant state of longing for more. That is you're living in that world. Because if you want more in life, if you constantly think that you are not enough, if you constantly want to seek, what are you going to buy? You're going to buy all the things that they market you on Facebook and Instagram. You're going to buy all these products. You're just a consumer of things that you're buying because you think there's happiness associated with what you're buying.
It's like you said as well before, where you had your ladder leant against the wrong wall. It's like if, for example, you hear us recommend books, or fucking anyone recommend a book to you, and you're like, I'm going to do that. That's going to help me change my life. For example, Think and Grow Rich or something like that. What the next step for improvement that's going to have the biggest improvement in your quality of life might be something based around relationship, because you and your missus or you and your partner are going through a rough patch. You don't need to learn about Think and Grow Rich just yet. You need to learn about potentially communication in with relationships, or do inward work on yourself, because you may 90% of the problem, or the best quote I've ever heard is like you're 50% of the problem, but 100% of the solution.
So
you're working out what it is that you can do in that. So for me, when you said, make sure you not, if the book's not relevant to you right now, put it down. It's okay. Like I used to have I was always like, I've got to finish the book. Got to finish
you're taught from a young age that everything you start, you have to finish. And that's fucking bullshit. That is fucking bullshit. That's why I went all those years through the boxing community and to the trainer level, because I thought, well, I've started this, so I have to finish it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But you don't, when you finish something, no one goes, oh, well done, mate. Well done. You finished fucking a book. For a start with books, the way that you assess books is you go, okay, what am I struggling with in life at the moment? Okay. Well, I'm struggling with, my relationships with women. Okay, if you're a man and you're struggling with your relationships with women, read The Way of the Superior Man, because that in essence is going to solve the biggest pain point in your life right now, and then sit with the information you get from that. Also, when it comes to books, read the fucking conclusion before you read the start, because the conclusion tells you where you're going to. And I want to know, by the end of this book, this is where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would you read the start first? Like, it doesn't make any logical sense.
Great point, that.
No, I never read the start of a book first. I'm thinking, okay, where's this book leading me to? If I don't like where it's leading me, why the fuck would I start it? Right? Use your fucking. The problem is that most people don't have independent thought.
Yeah,
they are taught and they are told, and we believe ways because we've been brought into that. Question every fucking thing that you believe, right? When you look at someone and you don't like them, that is telling you something about yourself that you don't like. Fucking ask yourself the question, what is it that I don't like about myself that's in this person? Right?
Yeah.
Right? This is the problem in Australia, right? And around the world, is the fact that everyone's out there like, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. Fuck me, mate. Cool. But you're not getting the essence of what that's telling you. That is telling you inherently from that moment, okay, there's people I walk past and I'm like, fuck, I don't like this geezer. What is it about this geezer that pisses me off about myself? Oh yeah, because he's acting cocky and you act cocky at certain points in your life. So you got to bring your ego into check. Oh, cool. I've learned that about myself now. I'll go and breathe into that. I'll go and sit with that and see where that comes up in my life and see where that started in my life. And that then is you learning. People go and buy the books, go and buy the courses, go and buy all this, and they think that is the success. They go and flex. They've bought the course, they've bought this, they've launched this business. That's the flex, right?
Their lives haven't fucking changed.
But their lives haven't changed. Why? Because they forego the work. They forego the work that has to go in, the reps.
It's like I see with fucking podcasting and, as you said, coaching and all that sort of shit. Like I see people starting podcasts every fucking day. Like I'm still running around with a fucking shit stand and only bought the Rodecaster like after doing 300 episodes. I've seen people who have wrapped up their podcast after 14 episodes, but they bought all the bells and whistles, and I'm like, fucking put in the work to see if you like it as well, you know?
But here's the thing, right? Podcasting. Podcasting is something I feel I know a little bit about, right? I feel like I'm qualified to talk on this at this moment in time, right? Do you know what, right? 95% of you that think that you should start a podcast should not fucking start a podcast, because it's not your 0.1% skill, right? You don't know what your 0.1% skill is yet. Some of you are great artists, so you should draw, you should paint. Some of you are fucking creatives that just create absolute masterpiece videos. Some of you are phenomenal fucking plumbers. Some of you are fucking gifted football players, right? I'm not. That's not my game. That is not my fucking game. I had to sit with myself long enough to know what my game was. Oh, I reckon I can articulate and communicate quite well in certain aspects and certain fields, which I know about. Okay, cool. Maybe I should try this podcast game. Maybe that would work. Oh yeah, boom. don't forget, it took me 30 odd years, 32 years, 31 and a half years to find podcasting, to find it.
How did you come across it and get into it?
Just because I was like, okay, I tried to force so much shit.
Yeah.
Because of what others would think. I was like, this is fucking draining. What do I actually want to do? Well, you've always wanted to start a podcast. I started a podcast, and then I realized a couple of podcasts that I recorded was self-serving. So I'd started a podcast, and I realized that it was all to do with ego and me being, I want to be the best podcaster. I want to be the best in the world. This, right? It's all about that. So I paused, I stopped, I had a 6-month break, and I really fucking thought into it. And then one day I thought, fuck, I get it now. It's not about the podcasting. Podcasting is for me, but it needs to serve something way bigger than myself. And if it does that, then I'll get the fulfillment from it. And when I did that and I changed it and I rejigged it, that's when I found it. I didn't find it day one. Most people that start podcasts start it for one of a few reasons. One of them is they want to market themselves. They want to market their brand. They want to create a lead funnel. They want to do this. They want to do that. Blah, 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 blah. Fucking bollocks, mate. Bollocks. You're going at it from the wrong angle. This is why Australia as a country is full of shit podcasts. It's just full of shit podcasts, bro, that add no value to people. It is. Like, let's be fucking real. It is. It's full of fucking shit. There's only probably about 20 podcasts in this country that are worth listening to. The rest of them are all absolute self-serving bollocks, right? Because you've got to have a true fucking feeling within yourself when you set out to podcast that you want to serve someone greater than you, right? And if you have that and you believe that, that comes across in every piece of audio that you communicate. And then people know that you're authentically yourself. And then that's when you start to grow the podcast. That's why you're growing. That's why hopefully I'm growing, because we're congruent with the fact that we're doing it for the right fucking reason, bro. You can't do 300 fucking podcasts if you don't fucking love it.
Yeah.
You can't, bro. You fucking can't. And that's why most people quit after fucking 2, 3, 4, 5 podcasts. Because the most fundamental, I cannot drill this into people enough. You have to first know what you're fucking here for by doing the things that I suggested earlier on in the podcast. Because if you don't, you're just going on this wild goose chase, and I've been on it, and it's soul destroying. Because if you just spend that little bit of time being like, okay, actually, who the fuck am I, man? Like, forget all the people you're hanging around with at the moment that may or may not be the right people around you. Date yourself. Take yourself on dates, right? The Call to Be Conscious boys told me this. Take yourself on fucking dates, right? Go for a massage on your own.
Yep.
Give yourself your fortitude to think. Go sit with yourself on the beach. Go do the breath work. Go experience things on your own with no judgment, and then you're going to be able to know. But the podcast medium, and if podcasting is right for you, if you feel that is, I'm here to fucking do podcasting, that I can do that for the rest of my life and never have to make money out of it because I love it.
Yep.
Right? If that's the fucking feeling you get, if that's what sets your fucking soul on fire, you become a podcaster, and everyone who's fucking loves podcasting will welcome you with open arms. But what people that love the art of podcasting fucking hate, in my opinion, is everyone in it for the wrong reason. Because what you're doing is you're denying the world your true skill, where you could add true value, because you're trying to pursue something purely for self purposes and for money. And that is where most of those people get eluded from the money and get eluded from the satisfaction, because it will feel forced.
It's that opportunity cost. As soon as you're doing one thing, you're sacrificing something else. And yeah, it's podcasting seems to be trending, or fucking TikTok, or whatever it is, or even workshop events. It's like I've been trying to, like I said, like 4 years ago, I was really comparing myself to a lot of people in the space. What are they doing? I need to, when breathwork really sort of took off, I was like, fuck, maybe I need to get qualified in that and do that and add that. And it's like, nah, bro, I love breath work, but I don't want to teach it, right? I fucking get the right people to facilitate for me. And that's where, like, for me now, it's like, I know what I love and so I've had the Man That Can project for 5 years, and it's growth and change, like workshops and what they involved and how it all worked. And I just realized that, why I started it was because I wanted to have access to men from all walks of life who would have conversations how we're having. They were successful in their own right in various different things, and they would tell me what it took to be successful, but fucking what it also, the experience was like in sacrifices, in dealing with, past issues and relationship challenges and all that sort of stuff, because that's what I missed in my life. That's why I feel I struggled, because I only saw professional athletes or artists or whatever, and I was like, that's cool, but that's unattainable for someone like me. So then, as obviously I got into it all, I started going, I need to have that because they're doing that really well. I need to have, and I just jammed all this shit into it and I lost what it was.
Yeah.
And now it's like I can bring that back to podcasts as one medium to do that, because I get to once again have conversations like this where people feel like they're fucking listening in, which is gnarly. But then also we've got our academy, which isn't me being the fucking hero. It's the community.
Yeah.
And we have a culture and a set of standards that we all try to hold each other to. And that's what's fucking beautiful. Whereas I thought I had to be everything to everyone. I was nothing to anyone.
So I set up the Frankie Lee Academy like last year.
Yep.
Right. And I put breathwork in there as the first unit, and I was like buzzed to do this Frankie Lee Academy, blah, 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 blah. I got 30, 40 people in it.
Yep.
Paying $99 a month, whatever.
Yep.
So by this point, it's a $3,000 US a revenue stream.
Yep.
I fucking canned it because I fucking hated it. Right? Because it's not me. I realized that's taking you away from you. You're meant
a genius.
You're meant to, mate. All you're meant to concentrate on is doing podcasts, bro. Just do fucking podcasts. The rest of it will fucking align energetically. You don't need to set up a fucking academy to now try and facilitate people doing breathwork. To facilitate this, fuck that. Call to be conscious. Men's medicine. Way better at that than you. Yeah. Right? Even though I got Lino to guide me through the breathwork in the academy, it's like, you're not doing your 0.001% skill, bro. You're stepping away, and then there's a monetary value attached on it, and that's taking you away from your true self. You just created yourself a fucking job. Why? So I scrapped it, right? I scrapped it because you got to be honest with yourself. Radical honesty. I launched it. It was live. And kicking for like 5, 10, 15 days.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not for me. Scratched it. I'd put a shitload of work into it. But I'm like, nah, I can now put these breathwork videos on YouTube, give them away for free.
Yeah.
Just give them to people for free. Why do you need to charge people for it? Like, I know you need the fair value. You need the fair value exchange. You need to earn money. You need to earn revenue. I will. Yeah. But at the moment in time, I didn't feel that was the right way to do it. And that I was sat again, like myself, sat there in breathwork one day, asking myself, okay, what am I doing now that's aligned with me, and what am I doing now that's disaligned with me? And I'm like, that is a story I'm telling myself. If I tell myself that aligns with me, and I tell myself I'm enjoying that is a fucking story, man. And that is a fucking lie, Frankie boy. And you cannot get on a podcast and tell people to be radically honest with themselves if you aren't with yourself.
Bullshitting yourself.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And I'm like, I'm not willing to do this thing now where I'm like two people again. Because I've been there.
Yeah, and you're coming from a fucking honest place because you've just cut a revenue. Like, if anyone, most people, like the average wage in Australia is like 52,000 or 60,000 or something. So getting $3,000 US a month, most people are like, fuck, I'm just going to keep that anyway.
Yeah.
It's money. But when you're coming from a place of integrity and you're wanting to be able to serve from your highest purpose, you cut the other shit off. Like, I've cut off so many things from my life just because I know where my time is best served and how I can best help people. But then it also frees up time. Like the fact that you took away X amount of revenue from your income just to focus on this, and you haven't figured out how you're going to.
Bro, I didn't replace it. I just got rid of it.
Yeah.
I've in my other business, I've dropped clients that are 50 grand.
Yeah.
Like 50,000 US just dropped because I don't like them. right? If I don't like you, or if I don't resonate with you, I'll first assess. Okay, what is it about them that I don't like within myself? I'll accept that. I'll not judge myself on it, but I'll still fucking get rid of you.
Yeah.
Like because like I don't want to be around. I don't want to be around dead energy.
Yeah.
I don't want to be around dead energy. I want to be a source of like realness, where you come to my podcast, or you come to my content, because when you look at Frankie's content, you're getting the real him, and you're getting the real inside view on what you're doing. You're not getting the Gary V shit, where Gary says one thing and does another thing.
Yeah.
Like he says he's buying this NFT, but he's selling on
it.
Right? He says he's doing this, but he's doing that, which is what all these top Americans that people look up to in Australia or the UK, they're all like, while you're buying, they're selling, right? That goes with investments, that goes with thoughts as well.
Yep.
So they're selling you that you should think this way while they're doing something completely different. It's not congruent. Surely, if you look at these people on Instagram, you'll see the incongruencies. If you stop the car, or you're not at the gym, or you're not moving right now, look at who the fuck you're following on Instagram. Tap on the first few profiles of the opposite sex that you're following, right? That are attractive. Just do this for me. Tap on them, look at them, and be like, right, this person, right? Why the fuck am I following him or her? Right? What the fuck am I following them for? What value are they bringing to my life? Right? Are they even congruent with who the fuck they are? No, unfollow.
Yeah,
that's one. Do that with the whole fucking list. And if they're not bringing you value, do you know what I mean? I used to follow shitloads of models and good-looking women, and I'm like, I'm following these OnlyFans girls for argument's sake, because some of them I look after online, remove content for them, and this and the other. They're clients of my business or whatever. Some of them I just know personally, don't have anything against them, this and the other, but the content doesn't bring me any fucking value. Like I don't give a fuck about seeing you with your ass out in a G-banger. What's that doing then? It's keeping me on Instagram, an app that sucks your soul out of you, longer than I need to be. I want to go on there, distribute content that inspires people, that empowers people to go and be more, and then fuck off out the system, right?
Yeah.
And I'm following these people, and there's nothing wrong with these people. The guy or girl that you're looking at on your phone right now, there's nothing wrong with them either, right?
It's not aligned.
It's just not aligned with you.
Yeah.
And but you're choosing to align yourself with that. So if you look at this person you're looking at on your phone and you think, fuck, this person doesn't know who they are, what's pointing back at you now? Right? You don't know who you are then, do you?
Cull that shit.
Right? Because you're only aligned with people because of how you feel internally.
Yeah.
This is the beauty of everything. Everything external allows you to look inward and say, okay, cool. And I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. I'm learning more and more about my stuff even through this podcast.
Yeah.
Right? It's brilliant. But that's the beauty of it. You get the ability to learn without judge. You don't need to judge yourself on it. But just actually be fucking honest with yourself right now. Do you know what I mean?
So the main thing that keeps coming back to it is like the honesty and the ownership, right? Like if you,
it's all honesty. It's all honesty and self. No one's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to save you. And if you can listen to this podcast long enough without it triggering you to hate the fuck out of me, right? then understand that I'm turning up here today to say, look, guys, I've struggled through this and this and this in life. And this is because I wasn't being honest with myself. And this was because I was constantly lying to myself. And this is because I was turning up to the world as someone who I wasn't. Right? And you have the ability right now to stop in your tracks and say, fuck, I think I'll do some of that myself. I think I might have to have a sit down with myself. I think I might have to take myself on a date myself.
Yeah. And don't take I do that all the time with the date thing. Is like, don't even take your fucking phone, because one of the things I get the lads to do is like, go fucking have a burger. Like, go take yourself for a burger and don't take your fucking phone, because what you'll be doing, you'll be scrolling social media platforms. Just sit there and people watch, observe, think. Like, it's, I see you doing it at the beach, and I see a lot of my mates down at the coast, meditations in the morning on the beach. I'm like, man, that's the best thing.
4 a.m, mate. I go down there with Lino, and obviously he was my coach, and he taught me how to breathe properly and do breath work and all that stuff. He taught me that, and then obviously we've been through a lot of stuff with the breath work.
Yep.
You know, I've been crying on my own lounge floor for like hours, bro,
Yep.
like just purging emotions and purging all this stuff within myself that I'd bottled up for all my life. And I'm like, and now I'm like, okay, I accept the fact that I'm an emotional man.
Yep.
I want to love others and I want to be loved.
Yep.
Right. I do. And I want to serve the world and I want to add value to people's lives and I want to be able to communicate better and I want to constantly refine that and become better at that.
Yep.
And just be more myself. And that's the breath work has allowed me that, and to go down with someone who's now my friend after he's been a mentor of mine, and just to sit and to breathe with him, and just to benefit on two different people's life expectancies. You got a man there who's there from Tonga, who's like my version of like Tongan Jesus to me.
Yeah.
And then you got me who's come from England and come from a different background, and then you meet in this middle place called Australia, and then your collective thoughts and processes that you've established from this area, and then you all that wisdom and all that knowledge and understanding can be combined, and you can breathe together. It's that's another thing I want to say to a lot of you that are listening, is the fact of like, a lot of you are friends with people that you think are your people, but when you start to understand yourself more, you'll actually realize that there's a lot of real good energy people out there that you're connected with that you'd have probably judged previously. Mm-hmm. I did this, I lived this life. I would judge people for being too hippie, too woo-woo, too this, too that, right? Because I bought into all like the hustle porn that's put out on Instagram in regards to like the Gary V's and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, you know, all that pressure, the Grant Cardones, this, that and the other. But you know what I mean? I just brought into all that, and now I'm friends with a lot more spiritual people, a lot more people that have done the inside work, a lot of people that have dealt with their pasts. Go on the Gary V thing. You can tell when Gary Vaynerchuk talks, he's never dealt with his past in regards to his dad. Yep. He's still a very wounded man. That's why he does everything he does. That's why he's in the pursuit of all this other stuff. Yep. Everything he preaches, he's never become comfortable with it within himself. And I can tell just by looking at him.
Yep.
And that's and this is someone that people are putting on a pedestal as their mentor on social media. He can be your mentor in terms of building business, building wealth, and all that stuff. He can be your mentor in that. But you need mentors in terms of like, you know, enlightenment, meditation, relationships. Right. You know what I mean? Like, just if you're in a relationship right now, and it's becoming harder and harder, and you've been together for years and years and years and years, and you're a man, for instance, and you're struggling, you're like, what do I fucking do? She's never fucking happy, rah, rah, rah. The answer is, all she wants you to do, mate, in essence, I believe, without knowing the full insights to your fucking scenario, is like, she just wants you to put your fucking phone down, take her on a date, and just be present, bro. Just listen. Just hear her. Just fucking, valued, just listen to her. She doesn't want you to solve any fucking problem. She just wants you to hear her. That's it. Most men out there are like trying to fix fucking shit.
Yeah.
Right? We're all trying to fucking fix this, fix the relationship, fix ourselves, fix this, fix that. None of us need fixing. And I hope you get that in the underlying tone of everything I've said today. It's like, I'm not saying that any of you need fixing. I just think you need to identify and be non-judgmental of the fact that, okay, I'm following the wrong people. Cool. Don't have to judge myself for it. Okay, I'm listening to the wrong advice because I'm just in the pursuit of money instead of in the pursuit of the whole picture. Okay, cool. Do you know what I mean? And you don't judge yourself for all these things. Just kind of get more of a rounded point of view. Question every belief that you have. Every belief. The belief about your relationship and why it's going wrong. The belief about why you hate your job. The belief about why you're not happy in yourself. Question it all. Because I guarantee you, the narrative that you see yourself in, the narrative you see your job in, the narrative you see your relationship in, is fucking wrong. And it's all to do with the what you consume and your narrow views on life that have never been questioned because they're instilled. Most of your beliefs have been picked up from your childhood. You're instilled with most of the things that you believe today by 8 years old. They're learned patterns. So you're essentially moving through life in autopilot and going from job to job, place to place, business to business, relationship to relationship, exchange to exchange, with all the same fucking patterns. Getting a little bit wounded and then moving on and carrying that wound, carrying that pebble with you. If you want to dispel all the wounds, if you want to break all the patterns in your life, if you want to accentuate through all of that, all it takes essentially is this look at yourself without the judgment. You don't need to judge yourself for it. I am not perfect. You are not perfect. Neither's fucking Jeff. Neither's Sandra, right? Everyone's in the pursuit of being a better version of themselves. We all are. Right? I've still got shitloads of work to do. Shitloads. Not there yet. But it's all about just accepting that you have to have a little bit of a look. You have to be willing to look. And it's all about the willingness to look at the darkest parts of yourself.
It's fucking very well said, man. I feel like I was listening to a guru then. That was beautiful.
Mate, I'm honestly not trying to be a guru. I'm just trying to honestly just speak with the feeling that I have, because I just think that it connects so much better with people. I'm trying to meet you all where you're at. I understand where you're at. I've been there. I'm going through it right now. Yeah. The problem is most people are listening to people that say they have it sorted. No fucking person on the planet has it sorted. No one. No one. So the people that you're listening to that talk to you as if they've got it sorted are the people that you need to unfollow, because they're giving you a false reality of the truth, which is making you feel bad about who? Yourself. Because you're choosing to consume the content it's what I call positively negative. Hustle, 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 hustle. Seems positive. But you feel like you're not doing enough. So it's negative. Right?
Yep.
You feel like you're not enough. So it's negative. Do you get what I'm saying?
100%.
There's so much positively negative content that you are consuming in your life that separates you from who you can become, who you can truly be, and everything, man.
Time's fucking flown, bro. I reckon we could sit here for hours and talk. I got one thing that I want to ask that we finish the show with every time.
Go on then.
What's it mean to be a man?
What it means to be a man to me is just understanding that all your life you are taught you've got to be strong, don't show emotion, all this stuff. And what it means to be a man is you can still be the best man that you can be by showing all your vulnerabilities, all your emotions, all your learnings, your ups, your downs. You can be the best man that you can be in your life just by showing the darkness, the light, and the grey in between. That's what it is to be a true man. True women appreciate men who turn up in full vulnerability and just are like, here I am, warts and all. Like, this is everything of me. The dark, the light, the grey in between. And I'm not the finished article yet, and I'll never claim to be, but I'm just working on all my shit and accepting who the fuck I am to turn up the best that I can for myself so that I can be the best that I can for you.
It's fucking awesome, man. So where can people find you? Like, where's the podcast at?
The podcast, if any of this drops in your ears right, and I've added any value to your life, and I just want to say thank you for having me on your show, mate. I appreciate it. Then you can find the Frankie Lee podcast on YouTube. You can find it on Spotify, on Apple, other podcast players as well. At Frankie Lee on Instagram, if this resonates with you. But I just want to say, like, it's not even about that. I couldn't give a fuck whether you listen to my podcast or follow me on social media at all. I just hope that you truly understand that today is not about me. It's not about you, bro. It's about them. Just sit with yourself after this podcast. Fucking sit with yourself in a little bit of silence. 25 minutes. Please do it. Just take that time for yourself. Sit with yourself and allow thoughts to come into your mind and be non-judgmental of the thoughts that come in on the back of this podcast. It is fucking powerful, I promise you. And those answers, all the answers that you seek will be in, and everything you need to do next will be in that silence. It will come into your mind within that silence. Please sit with yourself. It's not about anything else. I wish you all the best. Much love.
Man, that conversation was an absolute banger. If you got value from that, make sure you're hitting those follow buttons because we've got plenty of incredible guests coming through. Hit share on your social profiles. Let's get this episode out to as many people as possible because there is so much value in there from Frankie. And remember, continue to do the small, fundamental things consistently and you will create the life of your dreams and you will be continuing to be the man that you know you can be. Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachlan Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.